We had the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Services, and I am in a group with Rebecca, Alex, myself, and Tyler. And so the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Services was started in 1871. It was called the U.S. Commission on Fish and Fisheries. It was charged with studying and recommending solutions to fix the decline in fisheries. In 1903, the Fish Commission was reorganized as the United States Bureau of Fisheries. In 1885 to 1886, the Division of Economic Ornithology and Mammalogy was established within the United States Department of Agriculture. In 1896, it became the Division of Biological Species Survey. Its early work focused on the effect of birds in controlling agricultural pests and the mapping of geological distributions of plants and animals in the United States. Clinton Hark Marion headed the Bureau for 25 years and became a national figure for improving the scientific understanding of birds and mammals in the United States. J. Norwood Darling was appointed chief of the new Bureau of Biological Survey in 1934. The same year, Congress passed the Fish and Wildlife Coordination Act, one of the oldest federal environmental review statutes. Under Darling's guidance, the Bureau began an ongoing legacy of protecting vital natural habitats through the country. The FWS was created in 1940 when the Bureaus of Fisheries and Biological Surveys were combined after being moved to the Department of the Interior.
So the mission of the FWS is working with others to conserve, protect, and enhance fish, wildlife, plants, and their habitats for the continuing benefit of the American people. The culture of the FWS, so they put on many events throughout the year, and they run a bunch of national programs in each state, run them through national parks and different municipals, and the FWS also works to educate the public on endangered species, climate change, and other important events that affect wildlife and nature in general throughout those programs. They also use websites, their own website, guest speakers, and YouTube and other platforms to spread that information. And the organization is closely tied with Native American tribes and has a division that incorporates the research of tribal scientists into their conservation efforts and their decision making.
Some people who are important are President Roosevelt, which in 1903 he initiated the wildlife refuge idea. Roosevelt started the idea by establishing the Pelican Island National Wildlife Refuge. The Pelican Island National Wildlife Refuge was the first national wildlife refuge. It provided a natural habitat for the fish and wildlife. This refuge stands as our nation's conservation of natural lands, though the most important law that was put in action was the Endangered Species Act of 1973. The Fish and Wildlife Service then became the most powerful conservation agency in the nation. This made many uses of the public and some private lands, non-game species of animals and plants into protected resources. No one could kill these species lawfully anymore because of the law. Rachel Carson, who we learned and talked about, was a great contributor to the current and ongoing environmental movement and the awakening concern of Americans for the environment. In her book, Silent Spring, she urged people to stop the usage of pesticides as it was a threat to the life of not just bugs, but also the life of birds and fish in the food chain. She claimed it could eventually reach to the lives of children. Some actions are, while many laws and actions have taken into place to preserve the life of species of our beloved land, to preserve and protect, much of our land has been designated to be managed by the U.S. FWS. Actions have been taken into place within cartoons such as Mickey Mouse. Mickey Mouse creates a sense of care to the animals of our land. It creates an emotional connection between humans and the animals. The Pelican Island National Wildlife Refuge started the creation of many refuges. To be exact, 563 to this day. For example, one of the many acts created to preserve and protect is the Migratory Bird Hunting Stamp Act of 1934. This required hunters to purchase the duck stamp, which funds many refuges of migratory birds.
A fun fact is Rachel Carson is one of the authors who we had to read about in the beginning of the semester. In 1936, Carson accepted a position as aquatic biologist with the U.S. Bureaus of Fisheries, which is modern-day U.S. Fish and Wildlife. Carson worked there until 1952. The article, The Atlantic Monthly, served as a basis for her book. Some issues and controversies is the American public has been exposed to talking animals through media by Mickey Mouse and other programs. This has caused people to see the animals as human-like by them talking and giving them emotions. This has created people to become very affectionate for animals. This is referred to as the Bambi syndrome. This causes an issue for game managers to regulate wildlife. Another controversy is that people see hunting as a good thing. Wildlife management is controversial natural resource regulatory efforts.